Imagine you're buying canned tomatoes. Side by side are two different brands. You inspect the labels and notice that they're virtually identical. The only real difference between them is the cost. One costs $2 and the other costs a whopping $20. Which one would you buy? You see, I'm not a mind reader, but I'm pretty confident that you'd buy the better value brand, saving yourself an extra $18 for later. If in the following week, the store had a similar brand on sale for, say, 20 cents, you'd probably stock up, fill up your bag, and still walk out with spare change. While it's unlikely that store prices would vary so much for such similar items, research suggests that these kinds of astonishing differences in cost effectiveness do exist when it comes to charitable giving. How much good your money can buy varies really significantly from charity to charity. So in this video, we're going to cover 10 reasons why it's important to prioritize cost effectiveness when it comes to donating to charity. The first reason is that we want to do good and not harm. In the year 2000, a non-profit organisation named Play Pumps won the World Bank's Development Marketplace Award. Their signature product was a small merry-go-round designed to replace hand pumps with water pumps powered by kids having fun. Play pumps were praised by the likes of Bill Clinton, Jay-Z, and the First Lady Laura Bush. By 2009, there were 1,800 play pumps installed across South Africa, Mozambique, Swaziland, and Zambia. Play pumps raised a ton of cash, and they were considered a success by the media. There was just one problem.
Unfortunately, it doesn't really work very well on the ground.
Pumps would break down and they were not able to be fixed.
Children's play is not sufficient to pump enough water for their community.
Children, like everywhere in the world, sometimes get tired of playing on one toy all the time, but if they were relying on the energy of children, they really needed them to be spinning and spinning literally for hours a day to provide adequate water, and of course they weren't.
So adults end up turning the roundabout by hand, and that's actually a lot more difficult and less efficient than an ordinary hand pump. Not only that, but because the water tank is usually empty, they have to pump water to the height of the water tank, which is 6 meters up, before they can access it.
Not every community where a play pump was installed necessarily in the end wanted this technology.
The project still continued because people couldn't really see what the real experience of people in the developing world was. I think it really highlights the power imbalance between developing world users and first world audiences.
This cautionary tale of charity ineffectiveness highlights why assessing the effectiveness of any charitable initiative is essential, even if only to make sure that we're not actually causing harm to those who we intend to help. Reason number 2 is we have limited resources. Each of us only has so much time, money, and energy. Even very affluent people have a finite amount of resources that they can spend. All of us are limited by the number of hours in a day and the days in a human lifespan. And really, there are only so many things we can focus on. Choosing to spend resources on one thing is an implicit choice not to spend it on other things. In economics, this is called opportunity cost. The loss of the benefit that could have been enjoyed if the best alternative choice was chosen instead. See, just as we cannot wind back the clock to relive our day, we cannot spend the same dollar twice. This is important because the scale of the things that we care about, the things that we desire to change, will typically be much larger than things we can actually change with our limited resources. If we use our resources effectively, however, we can have a much bigger impact on the things that we care about. Reason number 3 is that charity effectiveness varies significantly. While most people assume that the best charities are only slightly more effective than average, experts estimate that the best charities are often 100 times more effective. On the Giving What We Can charity comparisons page, there is a list of concrete examples of how effectiveness varies between charities. For instance, providing deworming treatment is roughly 100 times more effective than merit scholarships are for improving education. The difference in effectiveness can be even bigger when comparing charities working across a wide range of causes. And these huge differences in effectiveness provide us with a really big opportunity to do much more good with our charitable dollars, if we choose charities strategically, rather than simply choosing the charities that we're familiar with or the ones that are most convenient. Reason number 4 is that charity is about helping others. By definition, charity is about helping others. Its ultimate goal is to relieve suffering, increase flourishing and improve lives of its beneficiaries. However, many organisations that accept donations are closer to commercial services than they are to a pure charity. Rather than donating purely to help others, we donate to these organisations as a way of paying for services, expressing our opinions, or investing in our interests. These might include your local school, hospital, church, or art gallery. While it's reasonable to pay to support things that you're involved with and that you benefit from, or have benefited from, it's important to distinguish these activities from true charity. Giving to charity in order to help others is a moral activity in which the focus is on the beneficiaries and not on the donors. This is well illustrated by a thought experiment proposed by philosopher William MacAskill. Imagine that you discover a burning building, and there's no one else around. Through the windows, you see that in one of the bedrooms, a family of 5 is trapped. Next door, a small garage that belongs to an art museum is also ablaze. The garage has been recently cleared out, but you can see that there's one painting worth $20,000 still remaining. You know that you have time to save either the family or the painting, but it's unlikely that you can save both. What do you do? MacAskill thinks that it's self-evident that saving the painting instead of saving 5 lives would be morally wrong. It's uncontroversial, he writes, to think that someone who chooses a painting over the lives of 5 human beings has made a mistake in their assessment of what's really of value. Yet MacAskill points out anyone who donates to an organisation like an art gallery, rather than an organisation that saves lives, is making the same mistake as a bystander who saves the painting instead of the family. If you can choose between saving lives and funding a material or cultural good, he argues that you should save lives. But it is natural to care about a variety of things. You might care about your children's education, enjoy watching musicals, and have a passion for nature walks. These can be all elements of living a good life. You can have more than one goal, and that is fine. However, if one of your goals is to help others, then you should think about how best to do so. Allocating some of your resources to supporting the most effective charities can help you really maximize your impact, while leaving space to pursue other values. Reason number 5 is that helping more is better than helping less. It could probably go without saying, but if it's good to do good, then it's better to do good better. All else being equal, we should save more lives rather than fewer, help people live longer lives rather than shorter ones, and make more people happy rather than making people less happy. Imagine you're a doctor with 20 sick patients in front of you and enough medicine for all of them. I'm sure you would save all of them rather than just some of them. If it's good to save one patient, it's better to save all 20 of them. In his 2013 essay, philosopher Toby Ord goes even further than saying it's simply better to do more good rather than less. He considers it a moral imperative to do as much good as we can. By doing so, he suggests we would be saving many more lives and preventing or treating many more disabling conditions. Reason number 6 is that our decisions carry implicit moral judgments. When we make decisions about how we spend our money, we're implicitly deciding what we value. If we're willing to pay $400 to buy a new television rather than spending the same money on a new mattress, we're showing that we value the television more than the mattress. Similarly, if we're willing to spend $400 to rescue a cat rather than spending the same money sparing the lives of 40,000 farmed animals, we are showing that we value rescuing cats 40,000 times more than sparing the lives of farmed animals. If a wealthy donor could double the income of a single average American household for $60,000, or double the income of 100 households in Kenya, which would you say is morally better? Of course, the numbers are not always crystal clear, and there's room for reasonable disagreement about how to weigh different moral outcomes. Still, it's important to make these decisions intentionally if we want our actions to represent our values. Reason number 7 is that we care about effectiveness elsewhere. Earlier, when discussing grocery shopping, we gave an example of how we consider cost-effectiveness in our everyday lives. Most of us will even spend hours researching relatively small decisions, like purchases of headphones, in an attempt to get the most bang for our buck. Spending money on a charity is similar to making other purchases, in the sense that money is fungible. We could spend the same money on something entirely different. And some donation options, like some purchasing options, a better value than others. Reason number 8 is that we expect effectiveness from others. If you pay attention while watching the news or talking with your friends, you'll quickly notice that we expect effectiveness from others all the time. If we don't find a company's products to be effective, we'll buy from their competitors. If we don't like our government's use of our tax dollars, we'll vote them out of office. If the rich donate money simply to get their kids into college, there is public outrage. Imagine how rightfully indignant you would be if your government only vaccinated 1% of its citizens against a deadly virus, when they could have vaccinated everyone at the same time for the same cost. If we can expect others to be effective when they do things that impact us, it seems only fair that we should try to be effective when we do things that impact others. Reason number 9 is that supporting effective charities creates a virtuous cycle. How we choose charities can have very long-run effects. Just like they do with other purchases, we are essentially voting with our dollars. If we reward expensive marketing campaigns or catchy but ultimately ineffective ideas, we'll get more of those charities and less good will be done. If instead more donors select charities based on their effectiveness, then this increases the demand for more effective charities and demand for better information about charity effectiveness. Ultimately, this cycle could lead to more good being done in the world, and who wouldn't want that? Okay, reason number 10. Most people care about charity effectiveness. Research suggests that when asked directly, most donors do identify charity effectiveness as a key motivation for giving. So this is pretty great news. It means that most people don't need to be convinced that it's important to donate effectively. So why then does data suggest that few people are actually donating in the most effective ways? This might be because, firstly, donors' understanding of effectiveness can be limited. It's focused mostly on avoiding perceived wastefulness, such as overhead costs, and less on maximising impact. Secondly, donors often lack the information that they need to make informed decisions. It turns out that only 1/3 of donors do any research, and only 3% give based on relative performance. Therefore, if you value charity effectiveness, it is essential to do your research and actively seek out the most effective charities based on solid research. Charity evaluation, however, can be a daunting task. That's why I recommend that you check out Giving What We Can's Guide to Giving Effectively, which includes recommendations for highly effective charities so that you can maximise your impact. I also hope that you'll consider joining Giving What We Can's community of impact-orientated donors who are committed to give a meaningful portion of their income to effectively improve the lives of others. Joining a community can help you to live up to your values, meet like-minded people, and inspire others to follow suit. So, equipped with 10 reasons to give more effectively and the guidance to find out how to do so, I challenge you. Go forth and give effectively. Personally, I'm excited about the impact you can have. I hope this video has inspired you to do some good in the world. Please let me know in the comments what you thought about the ideas discussed and suggest any future topics that you'd like covered. To learn more about effective giving, please subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media, and head over to givingwhatwecan.org, where you can also join the Giving What We Can community of people committed to helping others effectively.